amazing bartender Ray downstairs. Please do stay hydrated, I will keep saying it, and enjoy your time here with us at Shoreline Sightseeing. So first up, I'm going to draw your attention to this beautiful clock tower over here on your right. This is the Wrigley Building. The Wrigley Building was built in the early 1920s, about 100 years ago. And it is a style of architecture that we call Spanish Revival style.
Okay.
Spanish Revival style. We call it that because that clock tower was modeled after La Giralda, which is a cathedral in Sevilla, Spain. That clock tower you see there, very similar to the one you can see in Spain. There are 250,000 glazed terracotta tiles of cream and white that are drawing your eye upward. Terracotta is a material softer than porcelain. It must be hand washed with soap and water. Now this is the same Wrigley as in Wrigley Chewing Gum, as in Wrigley Field. And you might be asking yourselves, why exactly is a chewing gum office building in the style of a grand Spanish cathedral? Well, in the early 1920s, the US didn't really have its own identity in architecture yet. We were still copying European ideas of beauty, putting them into all our buildings. And it wouldn't be until later on in the 1920s that we finally get a style that was really uniquely our own, that was uniquely American. But coming up straight ahead, you've got the unmissable Trump International Hotel and Tower. So this is the second tallest tower in Chicago at 1,389 feet from base to spire. And this is a style of architecture that we call contextualism. Contextualism. You see those three patios on the building? Those three setbacks? Those patios are not at random heights. Each patio corresponds to the height of a neighboring building. You've got this first patio corresponding to the height of the Wrigley Building across the way there. That second patio corresponds to the height of that pointy Mathers Tower across the river next to the London House. And then that third patio way up there, don't hurt your neck looking up, it corresponds to the height of this black box building just behind it called the AMA Plaza. But that is contextualism. It is a site-specific design, custom-made for its environment. It's all about blending in with your surroundings, harmonizing with other buildings in your neighborhood. Now some real estate news. The penthouse in Trump Tower just recently resold for $20 million. Which was actually $10 million below its asking price, believe it or not. And this building, it was designed in 2009, so it's still relatively new, by Adrian Smith. Now, Adrian Smith, he is from Chicago, and he has built the tallest towers in the entire world. And you'll hear more about Adrian Smith a little bit later on. Next up on your right, going to be one of the most photographed buildings in all of Chicago because they're just so unique looking. Those are the iconic corncob towers of Marina City. The Corncob Towers, that's sort of their unofficial nickname. What a weird nickname, right? I wonder how they got that. Because they look like corn cobs, they really, really do. So way back in the 1960s, nobody was really living in downtown Chicago. In fact, no one was really living in city centers across the US. They were living more in outskirts and suburbs. And there was a man, Bertrand Goldberg, who wanted to change that. He wanted to bring people to live in downtown Chicago in an affordable way. So he built this utopian, vertically stacked world. He built a city within a city, because in Marina City, you can have nearly everything you could possibly need, and you can live right above the Chicago River. In these buildings, you are going to find restaurants, shops, a swimming pool, a skating rink, a bowling alley, a theater, and of course, parking, a key essential to living in downtown Chicago. Parking can get very, very precious down here. Next up on your left, you'll see this lovely Riverwalk area where people are walking. That's a public amenity that zippers together 1.3 miles of Chicago River shoreline. And it's a perfect example of Chicago-style resiliency, because you see the people down here. 20 years ago, before this was built, nobody really used to come down to the river. The river really wasn't a destination for people. So the city, it invested in the future, invested in beauty, and now people can come down and enjoy the riverfront like never before. You can go for a nice little walk, grab a drink, just enjoy the summer weather. It's really become a focal point of our downtown, is this riverfront. On your left, another tall glass building with white granite called 77 West Wacker. Now, if you look up at the top of 77 West Wacker, you'll notice this Greek-style temple. So this is a style of architecture called neoclassical. You take this classical design, like the Parthenon in this case, and you update it using the modern materials of glass and steel. Now, if you're here at night, I really recommend coming down to this bridge or the Riverwalk here to check out the lighting on the building, because at nighttime they glow up the granite in a really spectacular way. But I do recommend going for a stroll by the riverfront at night to really see how the city transforms from daytime to nighttime as each building is lit up in its own specific, unique way. But this whole area of the city over to your left, this whole neighborhood of the city over to your left, is known as the Loop. The Loop. Why do we call it the Loop? Well, we have a public transportation system here known as the L, which stands for elevated train, because it's supposed to be elevated throughout the city, that branches into all the different neighborhoods. And then the trains, they will converge in the downtown area, and they will literally go in a loop. Hence this whole neighborhood being called the Loop. And Chicago is located where it is today because of this river we're sailing down. This Chicago River in the 1800s was